A few years ago, I worked as a floor walker, store detective, at a chain department store. It was essential for all employees to stay alert and report any suspicious behavior, but I noticed that employee alerts had decreased. I suspected they weren't paying enough attention, so I decided to test it. I showed up at the store in disguise, hoping to shop without being noticed. Knowing the staff well, I needed a disguise that was flawless. Having been a crossdresser for years, I saw an opportunity to put my skills to use. I decided to visit a beauty salon to transform my appearance. I shared my plan with a trusted colleague, Samantha, and we pitched the idea to the store manager. After some discussion, he agreed to fund the purchase of clothing from the store and cover the cost of the makeover at a local salon. If the plan worked, I would keep everything and get a bonus. If not, I would repay all costs. It was a risky move, but I was committed to making it work. I left the meeting feeling excited, immediately setting out to select the perfect outfit. Samantha helped me pick a sea green business suit with a skirt and an ivory lace blouse. When I suggested adding intimate wear, she raised an eyebrow but helped me choose matching panties, a bra, a slip, a sturdy girdle, hose, and stylish high-heeled boots. The plan was set for the following Saturday, my day off. The strategy was simple. In disguise, I'd enter the store and practice shoplifting techniques I'd learned as a floor walker. I wouldn't keep anything, but I'd secretly drop stolen items into a box in the back of the store, managed by David. To avoid raising suspicion, I'd make 4 drops every half hour using a large handbag to conceal the items. With almost 2 years at the store, I knew exactly where all the high-value items were, the locations of the security mirrors, and I had the support of the store manager and Samantha, who were both fully aware of the plan. It felt like a sure thing. Throughout the week, I mentally made a list of items to steal. On Saturday morning, I arrived at the salon at 9 a.m. David had briefed them in advance, and I'd already prepped for makeup and wig styling the night before. By 10 a.m., I barely recognized myself in the mirror. My own short hair could have easily revealed my identity, but no one seemed to notice. Once the makeup was done, the salon staff brought out the wig medium brown, shoulder length, with soft waves and curls framing my face perfectly. They secured it with bobby pins and theatrical adhesive to make sure it stayed in place naturally. I couldn't resist the sensation of the soft hair brushing my face and neck. With the wig and makeup complete, I moved to the back room to change into the outfit I'd carefully chosen. The makeup had been matched to complement the clothes, and I had also picked out jewelry, earrings, bracelets, necklaces, a watch, and rings from the store's jewelry counter. Samantha helped me dress, and she came by to see the transformation. Her surprised reactions only boosted my confidence. While I'd had salon makeovers before, this was the first time I aimed to go unnoticed by my coworkers. It was a challenge, but I was determined to pull it off. Once dressed, Samantha pointed out that my nails weren't feminine enough. I mentioned this to the salon staff, who quickly applied temporary nails, explaining they'd last for the day. Perfect for my plan to revert to my usual appearance soon. It was essential to keep up the appearance and avoid letting any slip-ups reveal my secret. As the nails were painted to match my lipstick, I couldn't help but feel undeniably beautiful. For those unfamiliar with crossdressing, it's hard to describe the joy of seeing yourself fully transformed, feminine from head to toe. As Samantha left, another friend, Jessica, arrived. She paused in the doorway, scanning the room. When she didn't immediately recognize me, I called out in a soft, slightly higher voice. Jessica froze, her eyes widening in disbelief. She almost called me by my male name, but I quickly prompted her to say Elena instead. Approaching me, she scrutinized my appearance, echoing Samantha's earlier astonishment. I had asked Jessica to join me in this plan, hoping her presence would lower the chances of being spotted by other employees. She'd been skeptical at first but agreed to go along if I looked convincing enough. After a slow turn to show off my new look, I asked her if I passed the test. Jessica shook her head in disbelief, admitting she almost turned around when she walked into the salon. Her grin widened as she assured me that I would easily deceive anyone in my disguise. As I left the salon, the staff applauded and complimented my appearance. One woman, who had arrived after my makeover, exclaimed, "She's gorgeous. I wish you could make Emmy look that good." Her words almost made me kiss her in gratitude, as being called she made my day. While I didn't consider myself conventionally beautiful, in that moment, feeling beautiful was everything. Jessica, dressed similarly to me in a charcoal grey business suit and medium-heeled boots, joined me as we walked out of the salon. The sound of our heels clicking on the pavement was freeing. Thanks to the salon's work, I looked like a woman, and the sound of our footsteps affirmed that identity. Jessica caught my expression and grinned knowingly. A gentle breeze under my skirt and the approving glances from passers-by only boosted my confidence. We drove to the store, about a mile away. In Jessica's car, I nervously lit a menthol cigarette, a deliberate choice for the occasion. As I smoked, I relaxed, noticing lipstick marks on the filter with a smile. Jessica teasingly remarked, "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" It was more of an observation than a question, making her realize this was about more to me than just a task. Unsure of how to respond, I suggested we continue and talk about it later. After putting out my cigarette and checking my appearance in the mirror, we entered the store. I focused on maintaining a composed posture, remembering everything I'd learned about walking and moving as a woman. As we approached the entrance, Jessica reassured me quietly, "Relax. You look so natural, no one will suspect a thing." I nodded silently, knowing my voice might give me away. I never quite mastered a convincing feminine tone. Inside, we grabbed shopping carts and started our mission. Normally quick and efficient, I slowed down this time, taking my time to blend in perfectly. We had agreed with the store manager that the mission would last between an hour to an hour and a half. If Jessica and I accumulated more items than our purses could hold, we were to retreat to a back aisle where David would discreetly take the stolen merchandise. Jessica and I made 6 trips to the back aisle, each time with more items. By the time we neared our time limit, we were more exhausted from the trips than from actually shopping. Despite not noticing anyone who recognized me, the constant feeling of being watched left me frazzled. I told Jessica and David that it was time to go. As we exited the store, the fresh air hit us, and I took a deep breath, reaching into my purse for my cigarettes and lighter. Lighting one of the long, white menthols, I inhaled deeply, letting the calming smoke ease my nerves. I knew smoking wasn't healthy, but in that moment, it was exactly what I needed to relax. With each drag, I felt my tension melt away. By the time we reached Jessica's car, I was starting to feel more like myself again. Jessica joined me for another cigarette in the car, and we sat in comfortable silence, savoring the post-adventure glow. After a few minutes, we couldn't hold it in anymore. Giggles started bubbling up from both of us. We laughed uncontrollably, unable to stop, each attempt to calm down only making it worse. It took us a good 15 minutes to regain enough composure to speak. We had to be careful, as everything still seemed absurdly funny to us. Finally, Jessica turned to me and said, "All right, Elena. I think it's time we had a serious talk, don't you? This was a blast, and I haven't enjoyed a trip to the store this much in ages, but what's all this?" She gestured to my outfit and makeup, "about?" "All right, Jessica," I said, "I did promise to explain, but we should probably head out of here and find somewhere quieter to talk. What I have to tell you might be a surprise." Jessica gave me a curious look but didn't say anything. She simply started the car, backed out of the parking spot, and began driving. I directed her towards a quiet part of town, but she shook her head. "Nope. I don't know about you, but I'm starving. I need to eat now. You have a choice. You can sit in the car and attract attention, or you can join me for lunch, and you can explain whatever you need to." She pulled into a popular restaurant parking lot and parked. I looked at her, a mix of concern and curiosity about how far I could push this disguise. Without waiting for a response, Jessica got out of the car and headed towards the restaurant. I quickly followed her. "Jessica," I said, my voice laced with concern. If I get caught or if someone sees through my disguise, we're both in trouble. You know that, right? I won't just leave you hanging. If it comes to it, I'll say I lost a bet to you, and this was part of the deal. Sound good? I'd known Jessica for years, even before all this, and I trusted her completely. As my best friend's wife and a rational person, I knew she'd have my back if anything went wrong. She agreed, and we entered the restaurant. Before we went in, I explained that she'd need to do all the talking when we ordered. She nodded in understanding. Once we found a booth in a quiet corner, Jessica took charge, ordering for both of us and explaining that I had a sore throat and couldn't speak loudly. The waitress looked at me with sympathy. Don't worry, hun, I'll bring you some nice iced tea to soothe your throat. I smiled in gratitude, and she left us alone. That was when I started explaining everything to Jessica. I began by describing the differences between TGTVCD, and she nodded along, clearly following. Then, I talked about my early experiences with women's clothing, including the times I'd been caught by my mother and sent to see a psychologist who recommended testosterone injections as a treatment. This was all in the late 50s, when societal views were much different from today. My parents weren't bad people, I added. They loved me and did what they thought was best at the time. It wasn't handled perfectly, but that's just how things were back then. Jessica listened intently, only pausing when the waitress brought our food. After she left, I continued, and Jessica remained quietly supportive, nodding in agreement. By the time we finished our meal and were having a cigarette with our drinks, the tension was too much. Well, say something, Jessica, I blurted out. I know you won't laugh, but your silence is making me more nervous than I've been all day. Without a word, Jessica stood up and motioned for me to follow her. I hesitated when I realized she was heading towards the ladies' room. No way, Jessica, I can't go in there. I whispered urgently, feeling anger rise. I don't know what you're up to, but I've had enough. I'm done for today. I'm going back to the car. If you want to go in, go ahead, but I won't risk getting caught in there. We could both be in serious trouble. I turned to leave, heading for the parking lot, but Jessica grabbed my elbow and whispered urgently, okay. I just wanted to see how far you'd go and how serious you are about this. Here, take the keys. Pay the bill on your way out and wait for me in the car, all right? I really do need to go. She gave me a reassuring smile before disappearing into the restroom. I collected my composure and approached the cash register. After paying, I whispered my response to the waitress when she asked about our lunch. Unlocking the car, I smoothed my skirt before sitting down and swinging my legs inside. After closing the door, I rolled down the window and lit another cigarette. Jessica's behavior confused me, but I decided to wait for her explanation once she joined me in the car. So, I sat there, lost in thought, smoking quietly. When Jessica finally emerged, I was almost done with my cigarette. I put it out in the car's ashtray as she got into the passenger seat. She sat in silence for a moment before turning to me. Okay, Elena, she began. Your secret is safe with me. I've actually done some reading on this, so I understand the differences between TGTVCD, etc. I just wanted to see if you're as confident about where you fit into all of this as you appear. You seem comfortable and relatively relaxed in your attire, and while your mannerisms aren't perfect, they're good enough. It's clear you've done this before. I sat silently, unsure of how to respond, and Jessica continued, today was enlightening for me, and I'm sure it was for you too. It was a lot of fun, and I appreciate you trusting me with everything you've shared. I do need some time to think about it, though. How about I drop you off at home, and then I'll go home and mull things over? All right, Jessica, I replied gratefully. I think I could use some time alone too. Thank you so much for doing this with me and for proving what I've always known about you. You're a true friend and someone I can trust. You have no idea how much it means to me to have someone to confide in about this hobby of mine. Jessica stayed silent until we pulled into the driveway of the house I shared with Samantha. Turning toward me, she took my hand and said, Yes, Elena, I think I get it. A friend of mine in New York went through something similar, but he didn't have anyone to talk to. It almost drove him to some extreme decisions. I was there for him, and after a lot of conversations, he found happiness with someone who accepted him as he is. I'll be here for you, too, she continued sincerely. I won't tell George, she reassured me, referring to her husband and my best friend. That's your choice to make. But I know how close you and George are, you're like brothers. He trusts you, and I believe he'll understand when you're ready to talk. Just take your time. Okay, Jessica, I nodded, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. I'll do that. But for now, I need to get inside before any neighbors spot me. Today's been stressful enough without having to explain myself to them. Thank you for everything, and thank you for listening. I know I've talked your ear off, but I truly appreciate it. I'll call you and George soon, okay? Okay, Elena, she replied warmly. I'll be looking forward to it. Take care. Take care, Jessica, I said softly as she stepped out of the car. She started the car and drove off, waving as she left. I waved back, then realized I was fully exposed to anyone who might be watching the house. I quickly sprinted toward the back door, only to remember halfway there that I didn't have my wallet or keys. They were still at the salon with my male clothes. For a brief moment, panic set in. I considered a few options, none of them ideal, including the possibility of awkwardly asking a neighbor for help, a conversation I was desperate to avoid. Knowing Samantha wouldn't be home from her store shift for another 3 hours ruled out that option. Then, I remembered that sometimes the basement door didn't lock properly. Muttering prayers and curses, I rushed to the basement door. I tried the latch, but it wouldn't budge. Frustrated, I slammed my shoulder into it, no luck. Finally, with a deep breath, I kicked the door hard, wincing as the impact rattled through my heels. Thankfully, the door swung open. Without wasting time, I slipped inside and ensured the door latched securely behind me. Once safely indoors, I paused to steady my breath. After regaining my composure, I climbed the stairs and entered the house. Still shaken from the close call, I grabbed my cigarettes and lighter, chain-smoking a couple to calm my nerves. When my hands stopped trembling, I headed to the bathroom and began undressing. I carefully hung up the clothes and placed the lingerie in the hamper, then ran a hot bath. As the tub filled, I planned to wash away the makeup and perfume and relax my tense muscles. The rest of the day passed without incident. Nearly an hour later, I emerged from the bath, feeling more relaxed but, unfortunately, looking like my usual male self. I tried calling the salon, but no one answered. I later learned they'd closed early due to a water issue that caused minor flooding. By the time Samantha came home, I was back in my regular clothes, watching TV. She burst in, excitedly telling me that our shoplifting had been so successful it took hours to tally up the goods. Then came the bombshell. David, the store manager, was so impressed by how well the plan worked and irritated by the staff's obliviousness that he wanted me to repeat my role at upcoming meetings for both the morning and afternoon shifts over the next 3 days. His plan involved using a photo of me in disguise for a wanted poster-style memo to alert stores about potential theft teams. You might think I'd be thrilled, but truthfully, I wasn't. I was excited that the plan had worked, but terrified by the realization that my makeup skills were nowhere near the salon's level. There was no way I could replicate their artistry and convincingly pass as a woman on my own. Samantha, though supportive, wasn't much help with makeup beyond a bit of lipstick. Defeated, I retreated to my room, convinced I was about to embarrass myself in front of everyone at work, including my boss. Little did I know, Samantha understood my predicament perfectly. While I sulked, she called David. The next morning, Samantha woke me at 7 a.m., fully aware that I wasn't a morning person. My response was likely incoherent, a mix of protests and resignation about my lack of makeup skills compared to the salon's expertise. Ignoring my grumbles, Samantha chirped in her annoyingly cheerful voice, "Come on, sleepyhead. Time to get up. You've got a big day ahead." I snapped, It doesn't matter how much time I have. I'll never match what the salon did. She simply walked off, suggesting we talk options once I was up. Reluctantly, I got ready, shaved, and joined Samantha for breakfast. Just as we sat down, there was a knock at the door. Samantha and I exchanged puzzled looks. I went to answer it, and standing there on the doorstep were David and two women from the salon, carrying cases. They looked at me expectantly, and I stood there stunned, my mouth hanging open. David broke the silence with a playful remark, asking if he should continue standing on the porch or if we'd invite him in. Trying to respond, I failed again, struggling to form words. Stepping back, I let them in. David took a seat at the table, while the salon women joined Samantha in the living room. David complimented the success of our operation, noting how we had managed to shoplift nearly $10,000 in merchandise without anyone noticing. He acknowledged the need for increased vigilance among the staff and handed me my bonus, along with additional promised rewards. Then, he laid out his plan. He offered to triple my bonus, give me a paid week off, and approve the installation of security cameras and extra mirrors, something I had been advocating for the past year, if I agreed to conduct all 9 meetings as he intended. I was in complete shock. My boss, with whom I'd never felt a strong connection, was offering me nearly $1,000 in bonuses and improvements that would make the floorwalkers' tasks more efficient. I was speechless, trying to process his offer. Noticing my hesitation, David sweetened the deal. He'd give me full freedom to test employees at any time, with financial backing for any necessary resources. However, he firmly stated that this was the extent of what he could offer. I hesitated, not wanting to seem too eager, but inside, I was elated. My boss wasn't just allowing me to appear fully dressed at work, he was paying me for it. Suppressing the urge to hug him, I pretended to be uncertain about enduring the humiliation of wearing dresses at work. As I began to respond, David interrupted, informing me that the salon women were here to do my makeup for the next 3 mornings at his expense, and I would have the next 3 days off, except for my time at the store in disguise. That sealed the deal for me. I eagerly accepted his offer. Who could say no to that? Once again, the salon women worked their magic, recreating the look from the previous day. We arranged for them to return the next 2 mornings, and I was set to visit the salon for any necessary touch-ups over the next few days. Samantha and I left the house, both feeling giddy with anticipation, and headed for the store. The plan was simple. Samantha and I would arrive early, before any other employees, and I would hide in the security office at the front of the store. David would call a meeting for all employees, distribute the wanted poster featuring me, and ask if anyone had seen the person in the picture from the previous day. If they denied it, Samantha would bring me out in handcuffs and position me behind tables covered with sheets hiding the stolen merchandise. We arrived at the store well in advance, and David unlocked the doors for us. We set the plan in motion. I nervously chain-smoked in the front office while David addressed the assembled employees, stressing the need for heightened vigilance and asking if they recognized the person in the poster. When they all denied it, David revealed that not only had the person been in the store the day before, but had also attempted another theft that evening, only to be caught by Samantha. He then instructed Samantha to bring her out. She cuffed me, led me out, and placed me behind the tables. David paused dramatically, then swiftly uncovered the tables to reveal the merchandise. Gasps filled the room as the employees took in the scene, followed by congratulations to Samantha for capturing me. David allowed plenty of time for everyone to inspect the merchandise while I stood with a bored expression, silently praying no one would recognize me. Thankfully, no one did. Turning to the employees, David asked if anyone recognized me, and they all answered no. Slowly, I raised my cuffed hands, removed the wig, and in my normal voice, explained the orchestrated event with David and Samantha, stressing the importance of vigilance to prevent future thefts. Most responses were positive, with many expressing amazement at how successful our scheme had been. David then reiterated the confidentiality of the event, warning everyone not to disclose anything under threat of termination. With the meeting adjourned, He instructed the staff to prepare for the store opening. Samantha removed the handcuffs, and we retreated to the office, where I tried to calm my nerves with a few more cigarettes. David returned, upbeat about the meeting's success, and granted me the rest of the day off after a noon meeting, plus the next 2 days, except for the morning sessions in disguise. It hit me then, this charade meant I had to dress up fully or go through 3 transformations a day. A dilemma indeed. After some thought, I embraced the opportunity to dive deeper into this alternate experience. For the next 3 days, I stayed en fam, visiting the salon for touch-ups before afternoon shifts and undergoing morning transformations by the salon's team. David even allowed me to choose several outfits from the store, adding them to my bonus, a gesture that nearly made me want to kiss him, though I wisely held back. The thrill of these days lasted for a while, with the lingering scent of perfume marking it as a life-changing experience. Skeptics may doubt my story, but if you review the store's arrest records over the following 6 months, you'll see a significant increase, nearly 75%. Oh, and in case you're wondering, I did eventually retrieve my clothes, wallet, and belongings from the salon. Don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content,